With Gina.
The news with GinaBryan.
Okay, so we're going to do the news, and there is a lot to get to. But the reason why Brian and I are filling in today,
I should probably mention that.
Yeah, is Adam, an hour and a half into the show. Adam's in New York doing all kinds of press and promotion and glamorous stuff. And he was on Stern this week. And, you know, he has a storied history with the Howard Stern show. Very, very cool to be 2 handshakes away from Howard Stern.
Indeed.
And Robin. And he's promoting Not Taco Bell material. And he talked about actually filling out the application for Taco Bell. And we have a clip. Let's hear it.
Doesn't that crush you as a human? Like, there's something about you that Taco Bell felt was disturbing.
It sort of emotionally, when I was 15 and a half, in terms of Taco Bell rejecting my application, in terms of soul crushing and how that felt to my psyche, it was debilitating. But it needed to get in line. There were 1,000 other things. Women didn't like me. My parents didn't like me. I was
wouldn't you love to see the sheet of paper where the guy wrote, listen, this guy's fucking disturbed, or this guy looks odd, or, you know what I mean? I would just love to read what they wrote.
It wasn't like I failed something. It wasn't like there was a Bell Beefer assembly test
That's
that
what
you
I
had
mean.
to do in under 30 seconds.
It was merely based on your whatever you said and what you looked like.
No, as I think back on it, I realize what happened.
This has plagued you.
I was functionally illiterate. Like, that application looked like a note from the fucking Unabomber, I'm sure. Like, I was pasting letters from newspapers and sticking them. If you would look at my printing when I was 15, you go,
you had a problem writing.
It's like I'm left-handed. My penmanship was horrible. I'm functionally illiterate. I couldn't spell. I think
you
the
must
person
go crazy
looked at
with the computer because everybody writes one another. I mean, you do have spell check, but I mean, things get
I'm
through.
bad.
Yeah,
I'm bad. So I think it was based on that. Later on, I got a job at McDonald's.
Good for you.
Yeah, so it all worked out.
It all worked out.
So weird to see them together because they're the 2 titans of broadcasting from my youth and my teenage years. Crazy.
By the way, that would have been a perfect time to shout out Fondelier. He's never typed his own email.
That's right. When my assistant sends my emails, they're very well written.
Flawless. So we got a bunch of stuff in the news that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. Game of Thrones, Brian, I know it's not your thing. I know TV is not your thing, which I always find odd. But a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like the finale.
Outrage.
There was a lot of outrage.
Not outrage, but disappointment.
Yeah, and outrage.
Was there outrage?
Entitled people get outraged.
Okay.
Stencil that on a mug. But they did turn out in record numbers to watch the finale of Game of Thrones.
Does HBO release their they don't have Nielsen for HBO, right? HBO's it's at their discretion whether or not they want to publicize it or not.
I think this was one that they were proud
pretty
to
proud
post
to toot.
because the last episode was called The Iron Throne. It gathered 19.3 million viewers. That's a record for the series as well as for HBO.
More than Sopranos? Oh, okay.
The last time this happened was 13.4 million, set by season 4, the premiere of season 4 of The Sopranos in 2002.
That was more than the finale?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Yeah, me too. Game of Thrones also did better than the Big Bang finale. That had 18.5 million people tuned in. That's a show I've never seen.
This is going to shock you. Neither have I.
Yeah.
It makes me feel very good that I have no horse in the race other than I feel like Game of Thrones is much higher quality than Big Bang. I'm talking about 2 shows I don't watch, so this sounds hilarious, but I'm glad to know that it won. Well, the good guys won for once.
But, like it or not, or follow the story arc or not, these are 6 episodes that were first-run movie quality separate episodes. It took 10 months to shoot these 6 episodes of Game of Thrones, and some of them were an hour and a half long. So they were full-run movie features.
Well, movies, yeah.
So, yeah, I think all the fans can agree that time definitely got too compressed at the end. And
they
were
rushed, is what I was told.
Yeah, to tie things up in a pretty little bow.
What was your opinion of the finale? Your personal opinion?
It's funny because I had people saying, I don't know what the big deal was. I loved it. And people being outraged and Marco Poloing me and video chatting me, go, can you believe it? And I guess I'm just not wired that way. My thing was I don't know. It's fine, I guess. I gave in to the premise that it just is what it is a couple of episodes ago, and this might as well happen. Who cares? I don't know. It's fine. I thought that it had some nice moments. I thought some things didn't make sense.
Where are we with spoilers these days? Like the show, imagine if you're a fan, you probably watch the show within the first 24 hours and we're outside of the window. So do you feel comfortable no, I'm not saying you want you to, but I'm saying would you feel comfortable just discussing it?
Well, that's a really good question because I was about to say something like, for instance, and then I thought, we don't do that anymore, do we?
By the time people hear this is Wednesday. Like if you're into the Game of Thrones finale, are you waiting 4 days to watch it?
I will meet you halfway and say what you're doing to me right now is very reminiscent of what Tyrion did to Jon Snow.
Oh.
Was that accurate, Chris?
Very. Wow.
I might be a genius, a card-carrying Mensa member, and that's why.
Get that drop.
And that's the thing. There are people on Twitter saying, we all knew how The Exorcist ended, and it was incredible. We all knew how the Titanic ended, and it was groundbreaking and amazing. People need to calm down. And we've talked about this on this show before, that we think we've all collectively come to the conclusion about what a spoiler is. No. Movie studios decided that everything's a spoiler so they could control the information diet that we're getting. So why are we so quick to get in line?
I get that. People are too precious about spoilers. On the Film Vault, we did top 5 movies, great movies where you already know the ending. Like Apollo 13 is a great example. It's a great movie, well made, well directed. Everything's great about it.
They make it to the moon?
You know what's going to happen, but it doesn't mean it's not still a white knuckle ride.
Right. So I don't know.
Titanic's another good example.
Yeah. The ship sinks. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot to unpack in terms of like female power in Game of Thrones, and some people think that some got a less fair shake than others, just in the interest of wrapping things up. But I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. I can't wait to see what's next.
All right.
You're a big SNL fan?
Yeah.
How do you say?
Not as much recently, but for the history, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, I think you'll still be able to help me. Pronounce this last name for me. Jost. Colin.
Isn't it Yost?
I said Yost, and then someone said Jost, and I said, that doesn't sound right.
I thought it was Yost.
I thought it was too, but then I got corrected, and then I got scared. So I'm going to go with Yost as well. He proposed to Emmy's best friend, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, his classmate.
His study buddy. Her rep confirmed their engagement a day after the 2019 season finale episode of SNL. They met more than a decade ago, where he on SNL, he co-hosts Weekend Update. And in the spring of 2017, they found a little more chemistry when she guest hosted for the 5th time. Did you know she was married
the 5th date?
Yeah. Do you know she was married to Ryan Reynolds?
I did know that.
Yeah, they divorced 2 years later. Meanwhile, this is just kind of a way for me to shoehorn in a clip that I wanted to play. I know they've done this before, but if you didn't catch the latest SNL Weekend Update, Colin and Michael Che swap jokes.
Okay.
And they don't know, allegedly, what the other person is going to make them say on a teleprompter. And of course, it's all in good fun and it's all whatever.
Oh, they secretly prepped a joke for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they loaded each other's prompter with jokes that the other person hasn't seen yet, but would have been said by the other person.
Okay.
It's like 2 minutes, and I think it's worth it. It's a little cringeworthy, but it aired.
I'm down.
And let's play it.
Tonight is the last show of the season, and Shay and I have decided that our end of the year gifts to each other would be jokes.
Yeah, so we're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never seen before.
Yeah, and the idea, Michael, isn't to try to sabotage each other. It's just to give each other fun jokes.
Uh-huh. Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Yeah.
A student in Texas who is nicknamed White Lightning set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
And that's just a starter joke. That's just to set the tone.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom.
That's good. Oh, those are great jokes.
Okay.
Colin's turn.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
It's good.
I wouldn't have said that.
And finally,
Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
All right.
Yeah. So they get a few more in, but it's a fun segment. Oh, we have one more? Let's do it. Oh, maybe not. Okay. This one, Michael Che made Colin Yost say a joke about how the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King ran his mouth too much.
I think it's Jost.
Thank you.
That's what I was told.
It is Jost.
Oh, your grandmother said Jost.
My grandma.
I should have listened to her.
My grandma said from beyond the grave.
So that's a fun little third rail segment that they made for each
Nice.
other.
Like
All
that.
right, one more uplifting story. College graduates don't always remember their keynote speaker. Who was yours?
Michael Eisner. I do
That's
remember.
right.
It was
Oh, yeah, and
terrible.
he didn't know how to use his email. That was
Someone
a speech,
tweeted
right?
me. It was like, I was there that day. I remember how bad that speech was. I was like, thank you.
Well, everyone at Morehouse College, class of 2019, will remember theirs. Billionaire investor Robert F. Smith. He had a huge surprise for everybody. Smith is the chairman and CEO of a private equity firm, Vista Equity Partners. He was the recipient of an honorary doctorate from the all-male, historically black college. He elicited huge cheers from the 400 graduates when he said this.
On behalf of the 8 generations of my family who have been in this country, we're going to put a little fuel in your bus. Now, I've got the alumni over there, and this is the challenge to you, alumni.
Off the stage!
This is my class, 2019. And my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
Faculty in shock. Standing up, standing ovation.
Can you do that?
I guess so, because
No, it's like their faces are saying, can you do that?
Is that allowed? He will pay off approximately $40 million in student loans.
What does he do?
He is a chairman and CEO of a private equity firm. So he'd be
okay.
the one to do
Hedge
it.
fund manager, yeah.
Basically establishing a grant. He said, my family is going to create a grant to eliminate your loans. You great Morehouse men are bound only by the limits of your conviction and creativity.
Damn.
And prove them wrong.
That's pretty awesome.
This is going to be amazing. So good luck to them. And somebody who wrote a $35,000 check to my university, this story almost gave me a heart attack.
What you wouldn't have given for, what's the guy's name again? Sorry. I know. I know you put the thing.
Robert F. Smith.
Robert F. Smith. What you wouldn't have given for Robert F. Smith?
Although I don't know that I would have qualified to be a member of Morehouse. But that would have been amazing. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.